Hello there, YouTube, and all my students out there. How are you? Hope you're doing well this morning. If you don't have your notebooks, go ahead and get those. We're going to be taking some notes today. If you don't need a notebook for watching this video, go ahead and click on the like button down there below. It don't hurt you. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing what I hope to be a shorter presentation. Again, when I get excited about these things, I get a little tendency to get a little talky, and maybe I'll go long. I'll aim for less than 20 minutes, but there we go. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's a hugely popular, hugely famous, and well thought out and studied psychological theory of human motivation created by Abraham Maslow. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about it a bit. And, there are 6 million videos on YouTube about Maslow's hierarchy. So I want to sort of specifically focus it in on what we're doing, which is the visual arts and the humanities, and more specifically, students. So get your notebook out, set it up in the Cornell Notes fashion. Right side is for the information I give you. Left side is for thinking. If you need to pause this at any time so you can do some thinking on your left side, that's great. Do that. Put up there at the top, give yourself a heading, Maslow's hierarchy, put the date there. There you go. So Maslow's hierarchy is a theory that Abraham Maslow created to explain why humans act the way they do. Now, it's not a perfect explanation of what humans do. Humans are very complex and unpredictable creatures. However, it's pretty good, and it has stood the test of time. Lots of times theories come and go as they are tested. That's the way science works. As new facts emerge, as new tests are done, they discard old thoughts and ideas and replace them with newer and better ones. But Maslow's hierarchy has stood the test of time. Still widely used, widely taught, and has merit. So, what we're getting ready to do is we're getting ready to create a pyramid. So, in your notes, you want to start kind of down a bit, so because you're going to start the bottom and you're going to go up. So, you got about 6 levels. So, about halfway down your page, you're going to write the first need. So down there at the bottom of this screen, you can see that the first need is physiological need. So that describes your needs to survive. Your basic needs, food, water, shelter. If you don't have those needs met, no other thing is going to be important. If you're hungry, if you don't have a place to stay where you are safe and dry, or dry, how about that? We'll save safe. If you don't have a place that you can lay down your head, and not freeze to death or be inclement weather, if you don't have those needs met, really, there's nothing else that I can do for you to teach you humanities, to talk to you about, as the beauty and it's just not going to happen. If you're hungry, if you're thirsty, if you haven't had sleep because you don't have a place to lay your head that's dry, there's not much else that's going to happen until you have those needs met. So the first level and the most basic need is your physiological needs, your protection of your body. So if we jump to the next level, and again, these levels, so when Maslow did this, he didn't draw this pyramid and he didn't make it like it appears here. This is just over time. This is the way Maslow's hierarchy is presented. So there's going to be different, if you go online and look around, you'll see different versions of this same pyramid. That's fine. They're all pretty good, pretty close. So the next level over your basic food and shelter needs is your safety needs. So, there are lots of people who live in unsafe situations. They get food and they, have a dry place to sleep and a place to keep them out of the cold and hot. But that doesn't necessarily mean that those people are safe. And so we're going to focus on students because that's what we're doing here. So in high schools all across America and the rest of the world, there are people who are not safe, and that's safe physically and safe psychologically. So people who are in abusive situations, abusive homes, if they are in, if they're passed around from, uncle to grandma to cousin, and always on the move, don't have a sense of don't have a sense of personal safety. It's going to be difficult for that person to put those worries aside and focus on the beauty of dance, the wonder of a grand architecture. So those needs have to be met. The safety needs and the physiological needs, they really have to be met in order for a person to graduate up to higher levels of motivation. So we're going to put a break right here in your safety and physiological needs. I have to assume, as I go about my day, that you have these needs met. So, as a public school teacher, if I have a suspicion that you don't have these needs met, I am legally obligated to do something about that. I can't even worry about teaching you my subject area, my information, unless those needs are met. And, every teacher is like that. Our first and primary focus is the safety needs and the physiological needs of our students. And that takes priority over anything we do. So if I have a student who I feel is in danger, I don't teach art. I get that student taken care of. And it's the same thing for you as a learner. Until those needs are met, you're not going to learn. So we all agree that in order for us to even proceed and do anything, these needs have to be met first. So now we're going to kind of pop up to a little bit, a little more of an esoteric or cerebral or internal, whatever you want to call it, needs. So these needs are belongingness needs. And everybody needs love, affection, care, belonging, acceptance. Humans crave that. We are social creatures, and we need those. So those things. So most of the time, these things are going to come from our immediate family. Most of the time. And 90%, that might be a little high. Let's say 70%. 70% of the people on planet Earth, that's how that works. Your immediate family, mother, father, brother, sisters, grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles, those people are going to be your core support group where you get your love and affection. And for most people, and by the way, this isn't like a stair step. You don't meet. So you could be hungry and be, food insecure and not have a place to live, but still be with people who love you. So this hierarchy isn't necessarily like in order. There's movement among these levels. But what I'm talking about is for our purposes, which is learning about the humanities. In order to do that, you have to be at a certain place mentally to really excel and succeed and accomplish what it is that we're trying to do. So human beings need belongingness, love, and affection. If we don't get those with our core family unit, we're going to go find them someplace else. And that's when a student can get into trouble looking for love and acceptance and looking for it in an unproductive way. So instead of the love and belonging that you get from a family, you might attempt to get love and belonging through, dating before you're ready, or, any number of negative ways that you can get belonging. You can join a gang, So humans need that acceptance and love, affection. And unless we get that, we're not really going to be able to succeed. So as we get higher in this hierarchy, the needs become more complex and a little bit more difficult to achieve. So every human node needs to have that belonging. And that might come from, there's productive ways and unproductive ways to get that. Clubs and social gatherings, and there's lots of things that you can do to get that love and acceptance. Esteem is a need for recognition that you are a valuable person. So someone can love you, but they can also disrespect you. They can treat you poorly. So, and humans are complicated creatures, and that's, as much as as hard as it is to say that you can be loved but disrespected, as hard as it is to say that, that is true. So, a human being needs to receive not only affection and belonging, but also esteem and respect. And those are different things. And you can also achieve those things in a negative sense. So just as you can achieve your love and affection in a negative way, you can also receive your recognition and respect in a negative way. So if you are recognized and respected for being the meanest, most dangerous kid around, oh, don't mess with that kid. That is indeed recognition and respect. That is true. It's a negative recognition and respect, though. So human beings have these desires and needs, and if we can't get those in a positive way, we'll often seek them in a negative way. So just like you can get love in a negative way, you can get recognition and esteem in a negative way. And let's just use joining a club. Here, at school, there's lots of clubs and athletic activities and things you can do. You can achieve belonging and social structure, through the band. You can be in the band and you can play your trombone. That's what I played. And you can get recognition, and you can also achieve, like you can be first chair. You can, be a leader of other students. So as we move up the chain, the pyramid of needs, you get those needs become more complex and also more rewarding as well. So as we get up here to the top, we're getting to be, so a lot of people I have two. A lot of people will have these all crammed into one. So as we get to the top here, this is where these needs become very complex. And this is really where we start getting into the humanities. So all of the others, so most people, there's nothing wrong with this. Most people are going to live their lives, here in the United States of America. Most people are going to live their lives, in this area. Most people in America have their food and shelter needs met. Most people, not everybody. Most people are going to have, family, or, there's somebody who they can draw emotional support for them. Most people, not everybody. And then, most people are going to have ways to achieve esteem and recognition, whether that's through school or work. Most people live their lives, somewhere in here, whether they're vacillating between, trying to find love and try to find somebody who cares for them and trying to find recognition and respect in their, so this is where most people live. That's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person to not be on a higher level of the Maslow's hierarchy. It just explains your needs. So if I've got my 2-bedroom house in a neighborhood and I've got a boat that I can take out on the weekends, and I've got a job with health insurance, and I've got 2.2 kids, and that's the American dream. But still, that you have recognition at your job. People recognize you as a person who is competent and capable of doing whatever you're doing. That's great. That's lovely. There is nothing wrong with that. But you're still in this area here. You haven't made the jump into the next one, which is that aesthetic and cognitive needs. And aesthetic and cognitive needs are those needs that are higher order needs. So most of the stuff that I've explained so far are externally met. Food is external. Your safety is external. People who give you love and acceptance and recognition and respect. Most of those things are externally provided to you. When you start to get to the next levels, those things become internal, meaning that you provide them for yourself. So in order to do that, in order to provide things to yourself, you have to have accomplished, you have to have done the work on the earlier hierarchies of needs. So this is where you start to look for things like knowledge and understanding and trying to find beauty and order in the world around you. So this is where we start getting into the humanities. And the humanities are, again, a lot of things, not just art, visual arts, and the performing arts. The humanities are a lot of things. It's literature and theater and, philosophy and theology and all. There's a lot of places that you can get these internal needs met. Your desire to become a well-rounded, more knowledgeable, more thoughtful, more just, more, there's all of those things to become a better version of yourself. That's where you start getting into the humanities. Again, for us, we're going to focus in on a specific small bit of the humanities, the visual and performing arts. But the visual and performing arts are very fulfilling. So to appreciate music, we'll use music as an example. Music is universally appreciated, maybe more than the visual arts and dance. But appreciation for music, you can find a person that you can get along with by knowing what kind of music they're going to listen to. That's going to be a tell that's going to say, oh yeah, this is a person that I can be on board with. So if you don't share that common appreciation for the same music, you might know that you're not going to be that compatible in life. The arts become this very sort of internal special thing that makes us who we are. So as you achieve and as you grow, you can start to appreciate and you can start to art and other humanities can enrich your life in ways that perhaps you didn't anticipate. So the hierarchy so far is, you take care of your safety needs and your sustenance needs. You have food, you have a place to stay where you're not going to freeze at night. You're not necessarily living in your car. I guess that counts as shelter, but it's not the best. But definitely if you're living in your car, your safety needs are going to be that's not going to be super safe to live in your car. If you have, someone or something that you can feel love from, and I guess that you see lots of homeless people that have dogs, so maybe that's where they get their love and acceptance needs met. Your esteem needs, you have a job, you have, you're recognized as a person who can accomplish goals. Or, negatively, you're recognized as a person who is dangerous and unsavory. So, those needs can be met either positively or negatively. Once you get up into the aesthetic needs, though, those are needs that are, they're internally provided. You provide those to yourself, and those are harder to do. And then finally, the last one, this is what Maslow calls self-actualization. Self-actualization is the most difficult and the most challenging to achieve. Again, most people are going to live their lives somewhere, around here, with belongingness and esteem is going to be their primary focus. And you'll jump up and dabble in those aesthetic and cognitive needs. When you can, when you get time, you will, let's go to that play. So you'll jump into some aesthetic and cognitive needs when you can, but it's a little harder. And self-actualization, that's going to be your toughest, hardest to get level of Maslow's achievement. And that is where you become the best version of yourself. You've accomplished these other things. You have esteem and you have, belonging and love. Those are hard to get. And then you have quenched your intellectual and cultural thirst, and you have an appreciation for philosophy, and you have you think deeply about issues, and you care about your fellow person, and you try to make the world a better place. And then once you get to self-actualization, that's when you are becoming the very best version of yourself, that you live your life in a way that is of the greatest potential for yourself. And that's hard, and it's a little hard to explain what that is. But art is that way. So I'm not saying that in order to be self-actualized, you have to make art. That's not what I'm saying. But to make art, that's hard. And if you are doing that, you are, by definition, you are all over this pyramid, because you don't make art without, doing some aesthetic and cognitive gymnastics, and you have to put aside your desires for external reward, love and belonging and esteem, and you are delving pretty deep inside for your own rewards. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a useful tool to describe who we are as people. And in order to appreciate art and the other humanities, in order to appreciate these very sort of higher order cognitive aesthetic ideas, you have to come to it from a specific state of mind. So I get it that not everybody is in a situation that is the best situation in terms of, their security and safety, and not everybody has all their needs met for belonging and acceptance and esteem and respect. I get that. And I'm just going to ask you to do your best to overcome some of those obstacles in your life and push yourself up into these higher order aesthetic and cognitive thoughts. It's difficult. I get that. 2020 is a crazy year, and it is difficult to do what I'm asking you to do. But by doing this, what I hope is that you become a better, more well-rounded version of yourself, a more self-actualized version of yourself. So I went longer than I intended to. I always do. Sorry. I'm going to get ready to make my next video. So we'll call this one Maslow's hierarchy. And the next one that we're going to do is we're going to talk about what is art. So I'll get ready to do that one here in just a second. Hey, be safe, wear a mask, take care of your peeps. You know, get yourself up there on that belonging and love needs by taking care of other people and thinking about what's doing the right thing, and get your little Maslow going on there. Okay, see ya.